Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ark Raiders. I was doing something before the expedition leaves, which is in 6 hours, 7 hours, I guess. I was checking out all of the Ark items, and some of them are actually really cool, so I decided to make a little video about it. All right, let's get right into it. All right, so we have the Ark Power Cell. It's Ark enemy. This just basically falls from a ton of them. It can recharge your shields if you put it in the slot. So you look at it, you got some sort of battery pack and some sort of looks like a copper coil on the bottom, a couple of pins keeping it all together, and the plug on the top. Brass, I believe. So it's pretty basic. Can't seem to get a look at the bottom, but that's okay. That's just the Arc Power Cell. Arc Alloy. Arc Alloy is pretty basic. It's used for quite a few things actually. Light Shield, Arc Motion Core, Seeker Grenade, and Arc Circuitry. I always thought it looked like a little wing, but apparently it's just a chunk of Arc Alloy you ripped off of something. Pretty basic. Arc Alloy. Next up we have the Tick Pod. The Tick Pod looks pretty basic, and even the metal is all scratched up. So it kind of looks like ticks are a little scrappy. That kind of looks like a lens. Maybe that's how they see you. And then you got the wires wrapped around like that. As for now, we have the pop trigger. Pop triggers have recently been changed, so you actually put them onto the ground and roll them, and they will roll into someone and blow up. Now, it looks right here. It's probably something to do with the trigger mechanism. And I believe that is a spring when inside the geared chamber. I'm not sure if it's actually gears, but it does look like it was built like that to slip in. And the dials on the back, the indent. What they actually do. Definitely some sort of gyro mechanism, I would think. And that's the pop trigger. And now we have the fireball burner. You can throw these like blaze grenades, and they break and burn for a little while, duration of 10 seconds. Now in here you can see it's the form of igniter, probably where the ignition source is. And back, this is probably the tube that will contain the fuel. And this here, along with that over there, different shapes. So you can probably assemble them, put them in the proper order. And that would be a fireball burner. Here we have a snitch scanner. Same kind of plug system as the Hornet and Wasp. Ribbons are blue with what looks to be red wiring underneath and two brackets on both sides. Pretty basic and standard. Snitch scanner can be used to draw in two wasps, not hornets, when thrown this way. Snitch scanner. And now we come to the wasp driver. Wasp driver is throwable, and you can shoot it for an explosion. You have the plug down here and the ribbons. Now, if you look down here, this is not the right one. You see some plugs under the bottom there. This is a different arrangement of a... Honestly, I have no idea how this would work and what it would be for on the wasps. It does look cool. The wasp driver. Here we have the Hornet driver. And the Hornet driver is the first one I noticed that has this kind of, looks like a aluminum tape or something. It's doing the wires up and holding the centerpiece together with the same kind of plug arrangement. And this time, wires have been placed in the yellow ports, taped up. So I don't know if the raiders have to do something special to remove them, or if this is done pre-assembly, but it is the first one that looks like it's been altered a bit. The Hornet driver, when thrown, does a stun duration, a little shock charge, after it charges up for a few seconds in the air. One of the newer items to come into play is the Fireball Burner. The Firefly Burner, my bad. These things have a yellow gas canister and 4 injection nozzles along with an ignition wire. Seems pretty basic, and I believe this is also the weak point you can fire at when they open up to light you on fire. The fireball burners are used to create trailblazers now. This is another new ARC item, the Comet Igniter. Comet igniters are used to craft deadlines. There seem to be some coiled on both sides. 2 ports here, 2 ports there. That looks rather similar, pretty much an upgraded pop, but with a little more devastating explosions. The Comet Igniter. Here we have the more advanced arc power cell. Advanced arc power cells cannot be used to recharge your shield. They can't be put into utility slots, but they do make surge shield rechargers and energy clips for your energy weapons. You see a bigger battery. You see these look like cooling fins. I'm not 100% sure. And of course the same kind of brass nozzle on top to plug into your shielding system. If that did that, this doesn't do that. And on the bottom, it's just a flat bottom, so pretty basic and that's standard. That's the advanced arc power cell. Here we have arc synthetic resin. Impossible to find when you need to find it, but it can drop from Hornets and a couple other arcs. You can see it in here. It's just resin without the top, so you got to use it before it dries. Anyway, arc synthetic resin. Arc coolant in this a big giant jug that I thought was like a boat battery, but it is not. It's pretty standard. You just recycle it or sell it, and yeah, you can get these from some of the bigger guys. Good for chemicals. The arc coolant. Arc performance steel. This is just 2 chunks of steel that you loot from larger arc enemies usually. They have some ports, look like they possibly clip together, but other than that, just metal or money. Arc performance steel. Arc flex rubber. Arc flex rubber is braided. It kind of looks like something you'd find in your car, coolant maybe. But it says looks like it's sealed, but it looks like it's rather thick tubing. I'm not exactly sure what it's for, if that hole is supposed to be pushed all the way through, but this is Arc flex rubber. The Arc motion core. These are used for launcher ammo, Wolfpack magnetic accelerators, so they're pretty important. Comes with brass piece here, some chambers. It looks like here where that would slide into place. This looks like a possible lens. That's a motion core, so it might control movement. And down here you see the cut wires, possibly where it was removed. You got blue, red, blue, brown, and yellow. And here you got blue, red, yellow, and here you have looks to be just red and blue. I don't know what the wiring is for and if it's actually for anything, but these are pretty decent. Arc motion cores. And here we have arc circuitry. Arc circuitry is used for medium shields, power rods, and deadlines. Now, this just basically looks like a microchip on a board, and on the back is nothing really, but you do have some holes where it looks like it was screwed into something. Now, just plain circuitry, nothing fancy, and I don't know enough about these pin connections and resistors to tell you much about it, but this is the arc circuitry. Here we have a surveyor vault. Not used for much, but I always thought they were cool. They look like little BB-8s with the head ripped off, unfortunately. Let's avoid that. But this does look like something that you'd find inside the surveyor. Something like a gyro. You got wires branching all over. Not very neat. And these look like some kind of piston, maybe helping it move. And you can't really see inside the top, but that is sheared, so it's probably where it was removed. That is a surveyor vault. Here we have a Rocketeer driver, now a component in Wolfpacks. Used to not be so. Now we have pins of blue on the outside and yellow on the inside. We have what looks to be a bunch of chips. That's where all my RAM went from my new PC. Got wires up here, and this looks like to be some sort of magnet. Now, I'm not sure what these would be for, but it does look like a cooling system. So, the Rocketeer driver is pretty cool looking. But it does just look like the brain. Pull the brain out, she's done. The Rocketeer driver. Leaper Pulse unit. Unlike the Rocketeer driver, we have a red and brown plug system. We have yellow boards instead of green. And we have these big ribbons, along with a larger battery or electromagnet. I'm not sure what this is exactly. I do lean towards electromagnet, just how it's set up. You get your yellow ribbons down here. And the interesting thing about the Leaper Pulse unit is it can be thrown. And it creates the same kind of shock wave that the Leaper or the Bombardier produce. So, the Leaper Pulse unit. Here we have the Bombardier cell, and this, I think, is one of the cleanest items that you remove from an Ark. It just looks like two large pieces put together. Get some batteries because it is a cell. Got what looks like a plug here, and this probably slides in a rail. Now, I don't exactly sure what it's not used to make anything, but it does give you a significant amount of advanced mechanical components. So that's always nice. The Bombardier cell. And here we have a spotter relay, recently changed to be able to target raiders or the Bombardier to shoot at. You can place it down like a mine and it'll detect someone. Here you have some fins, seem to open up, front and back. You have some ribbon, and it looks like a clamp right all around here to keep this thing closed. Whenever you go near Bombardiers, you'll have to go near these. Worth a little bit of cash, and they recycle into some electrical components, which isn't too bad. And that's a spotter relay. Here we have the Bastion cell. We have we have coil wraps here. We have what looks to be cooling system. We have a different plug with a triangular type indent. With all these wrapped around, they're probably for producing energy. You have this type of, can't remember the word. Type of hose. Sometimes used for fire. And then this giant chunk, which I'm not sure what it is, could possibly be the battery portion. And then we just have a big old bolt bolted into it, which is not what's over here. The Bastion cell. Here we have a matriarch reactor. Now, these are interesting because we have this giant part on the back, which I do believe is electromagnetic. We have a screw up front with a strange plug type. The wiring here is confusing to me because you have two reds that are connected to each other, and then the rest are blue, 5. So, I'm not sure, and they're wired into each other right here. No idea how this is wired, but maybe it's like Stephen King's Tommyknockers, and you're not supposed to know what the wiring does. Pretty sleek looking. The matriarch reactor. And here we have the Queen reactor. Queen reactors are large base metal with a singular rail on top and what looks to be a thick ribbon from the front to the back. You'd think these would be positive and negative, but they are not all positive for some reason, if that is its purpose. Now, I'm not exactly sure how the Queen reactor would go in, but it must produce power for the system. It does kind of look like a battery. And that's the Queen reactor. Alright everybody, thanks for joining me on this informative little video. I always look at stuff when it gives you the chance. I blame Resident Evil with their hidden little inspection, examine stuff. So nowadays I do that for everything. And I'll probably end up making a weapon video. The same kind of system. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following. Thanks for liking. Have a good day.